everything that we're discussing here, the infrastructure we're discussing here, it doesn't just apply to actually a ransomware attack or a hacker attack. Any of the components here are important to focus on, because if they go down for any reason, be it natural disaster or lack of proper maintenance of equipment, if they go down, that would be a critical break in stopping of your ability to do production. And also, I like to say with this attack, like, people like to focus on the actual the malware that was used, but I think it's more interesting to focus on the steps prior to the development of the malware, because there's a whole portion of prevention that gets into business continuity there, where it's on the human element, on the human side, where analysis wasn't done in advance so that they know how to prevent this kind of disaster to happen. So yeah, this is the second attack. Now this is the second of the slides. It focuses actually on the ICS portion where they did the attack, and now I'm going to want to go to the next slide because, okay, so this is the key component here we're talking about. Now what they focused on in this attack was they focused on controllers, firmware controllers, to take down controllers. They also focused on the serial to Ethernet communication devices. So they focused on taking those down as well to break communications. And the idea with this slide is we're just saying that there are specific components in your industrial control system that pretty much at any of them you will recognize as having in your system, and you have to be aware that these are just any type of device like this. You have to be aware of what can happen if they go down, or if something happens to them, and how they can break your ability to continue to do production. So the serial, the Ethernet communicators, they went after the UPS systems. So as part of this, when they did the power outage, they made sure that they took out the UPSs, so the UPSs weren't able to provide power so they could run. They also went after an internal communication servers. They went after a couple of different types of servers, but one specifically internal communications, because that way they weren't able to communicate on the plant level. And as another aspect of this, they went after the local call center. That wasn't connected to the plant, but the plant itself relied on that call center for customers and clients to call in to get information on what was going on. So they took that down as well. So it shows, like, not just inside your facility you have to be aware of what your infrastructure is and what it's doing, but also infrastructure in the area that you rely on in order to perform to do what you do as a business. And the final, possibly it might have been the most important part of the attack, was they went after Siemens relays. Now they had an attack on those relays where the idea was, for the initial part of the attack, they opened them so that they can break power, so that they could lose power for the facility. But the part that didn't go off, luckily, was when they brought the system back up online, they were supposed to they had malware that was supposed to keep it so that the relays, they wouldn't open. So if there was a surge or something, some kind of surge, they wouldn't do what they're supposed to do, and that would actually destroy the actual equipment and infrastructure, which would have led to more than the 3-hour outage they had. They could have been out for months at that point, because anybody who deals with this type of infrastructure knows what happens if you actually have a piece of equipment that burns out, a motor or something, and then you have to do the replacement of that. So those right there are just like 5 pieces of equipment you have in your infrastructure that you need to be aware of, and makes you aware that there are others you have to be aware of. You have to know what's going on with these. So if some kind of disaster does hit, be it a ransomware attack, be it a natural disaster, be it power outage from the local area, you have to be ready to take on, and have a plan in place for dealing with that.